Yes, Accra High Court orders remand of former Signals Bureau Director Kwabena Edubuahin for 7 working days.
Also this afternoon, Trade Union Congress chairperson under fire for importing foreign materials into his speech during the celebration. Matters that were not discussed as organized labor, they say.
And Ghana to honor 24 individuals and institutions were championing press freedom as it commemorates World Press Freedom Day. Details shortly.
You are live on TV3 and this is News Central. I'm Kemini Amano.
And I am Mawina Egbeta. The bulletin starts right now.
Now, an Accra High Court has ordered the remand of former Signals Bureau Director Kwabena Edubuahin for 7 working days to enable the Attorney General complete the preparation of his witness statements. His wife and the third accused person, Mildred Donko, meanwhile, are to remain on the existing bail terms. The decision follows an in-camera meeting this morning between the trial judge, defense and prosecution lawyers in the chambers of the judge. The Attorney General had praised the court to remand the former Signals Bureau boss on grounds that he is attempting to interfere with the investigations. I'll bring in now court correspondent Lord Edward Sari, who's been covering the story. Lord, good afternoon. Tell us a bit more about the hearing today.
Right, Kemini. So like you mentioned earlier, when we got to court today, the accused persons, that is the former Signals Bureau Director, Kwabena Edubuahin, his wife, Angela, the third accused person, Mildred Donko, they were all seated. And then to add that Mildred came with her little daughter. They were all in court. But then the prosecution, led by Deputy Attorney General, Dr. Justice Stremsai, he came with his lawyers. And then the defense part was led by Samuel Atachian for the accused person. And they went in chambers and met presiding judge Eugene Nyante Nyodu. The meeting lasted for almost an hour, I should say. And then when they came out, the judge did not obviously disclose everything that happened in there, but he did say that the prosecution was arguing to get Kwabena Edubuahin to be remanded for 2 weeks, citing that throughout the investigations, they have realized that Kwabena Edubuahin has the potential to interfere with their witnesses and then, by and large, the investigations. But Samuel Atachian objected to that fact, saying that that cannot be the case. And so he actually wanted his client to be Mildred and then his wife are also on bail and remain on bail. But Kwabena Edubuahin has now been remanded for 7 working days after his lawyer, Samuel Atachian, pleaded with the judge to reduce it because I indicated that the Attorney General wanted him to be remanded for 2 weeks for their investigation to continue. So we are back on May 13th for the Attorney General, the prosecution, to continue their investigation. But by that time, they should have filed all the witness statements. And so when we come on 13th, you see what the trial will look like then.
I see. Lord, what do we know about the whereabouts of Kwabena Edubuahin at this time?
Right, so as we are still actually here outside the premises of the court because he's still pulled up upstairs with the lawyers and then the Yoko officials. On my right, I could show you, but then the Yoko cars are on standby. I understand that they are working the documents as far as the one for the remand is concerned. So they are still processing documents. When they are done, and then he will be transported to the Yoko office, which is where he's supposed to be remanded for the next 7 working days. And the key word here is 7 working days, because again, his lawyers wanted it to be just 7 days so that it would be just 5 days that he'd be in custody while the prosecution do their work.
I see. What did counsel of Edubuahin tell you after the decision?
Well, as I speak to you, Samuel Techiman is still upstairs with the client under the prosecution. The Deputy Attorney General has already left the premises, but the senior state attorney, A.C. Yanka, she actually spoke on behalf of the prosecution today because the Deputy Attorney General was not properly voted, and so he delegated her to do the talking. They are still upstairs working on the documentation for the remand of Kwabena Edubuahin. So after to Samuel Techiman and then the other defense lawyers are still upstairs trying to work things out before his client is remanded into EOC custody.
I see. Is there any knowledge of where he will be held until the next 7 working days?
So as far as we've been told, the judge indicated that he's supposed to be remanded at the Economic and Organized Crime Office, EOCO, for the next 7 working days as the investigations continue.
Very well. Lord, I appreciate the report and thank you so much. Lord Edu Asare is a court correspondent giving us details of that revocation of the bail of Kwabena Edubuahin, the former Signals Bureau boss, who's now being held for 11 counts, including stealing, money laundering, and conspiracy to cause financial loss to the state.
Now, all may not be well within Ghana's organized labor following fresh allegations of alienation during the Workers' Day celebration yesterday. The Ghana Federation of Labor is accusing TUC Secretary General Joshua Ansah of importing foreign materials into his speech during the celebration, matters that were not discussed as organized labor. Abraham Kumsin, who is General Secretary of the Ghana Federation of Labor, he spoke to Joseph Akable on TV3 New Day.
Even in the TUC position, you don't have problem. TUC is an autonomous labor center. If they met and took that decision, we decided to speak how we spoke yesterday, we don't have problem. But this forum, the forum yesterday, was for organized labor, not only this. So, if you want to speak, you must make sure that whatever you have in mind has been discussed by the organized labor industry. But this didn't happen. We even sent some inputs, and they never captured even a sentence. Then can I stand there and we are doing politics that he himself, I know he doesn't even understand the legal issue that he brought up there. You don't understand it. If you are asking the president to what? Tread consciously or whatever, what conscious trading? The president has activated a process to achieve some result in the interest of the country. Then you are saying that he tread, is he a magician? He and is he a magician to know what could happen in the end. So yesterday, look, I was really sad, and I didn't want to create a scene. Otherwise, I would have snatched the speech, the paper from his hand. The Galamsey thing that he said. Galamsey, 8 years, 8 good years. What did you do? And 4-5 men in office, and you are giving caution, threatening. I don't hear anything. If the TUC want to be annexed to NPP head office, okay, they can go ahead and do that. But we want to be part of it. Honestly, whatever was presented there, it represents the TUC's position, not organized labor, as far as my words are concerned, because DFL is a critical stakeholder. And if the TUC doesn't take care, we are giving them up to the end of this month. We will drive them to court to challenge their mandate, to mount a platform and speak the way they speak. We challenge it. We challenge their mandate.
That's Abraham Kumson. Let's walk you through the concerns he's been raising, which were detailed in a letter to the TUC Secretary General Joshua Ansah. And amongst many other things, he makes the first point that there was a disregard for inclusive representation all throughout the celebration yesterday, and then on their concerns, some of which we've heard him speak to. Also, he says that the remarks made by TUC General Secretary or Secretary General yesterday on the Chief Justice's removal and the fact that the President needs to proceed with caution, it was a statement which was that of TUC's alone. No other labor group was consulted, and they are asking why all of organized labor will be lumped together in making a statement of that nature. Then they proceed to the conversation of Galamsey, of which we heard him make some claims to as well, that they've not been consulted on all of these matters. What are they demanding? They say they want an immediate, urgent meeting of organized labor leadership before the end of May to discuss these pertinent matters, and that the meeting must address the status of the stalled organized labor structures and chart a way forward for inclusive, transparent, and principled collaboration. Let's go on to the telephone lines right now. Daniel Opoku is our labor affairs correspondent. If there's anybody we should be asking questions on what really is happening on the labor front, he's the best man to get details from. Daniel, thank you very much for speaking to us. A big question on everybody's mind is, all well with labor? What's happening now that there are threats of a suit, among many other things?
Right, good afternoon to you, Eric. That's an interesting question. As whether all is for organized labor, clearly you can see that it's not over with organized labor, especially when you have the leadership of the Ghana Federation of Labor being led by its Secretary General, Mr. Abraham Kumson, raising a lot of concerns. Now, let's not forget that there are 3 labor centers in Ghana. You have the TUC, that's the Techiman Congress, led by the Secretary General. Also, you have the Forum, led by Mr. Isaac Bampuado, Dr. Isaac Bampuado. Then you have the Ghana Federation of Labor, led by the Secretary General, Abraham Kumson. Now, usually when maybe organized, you would have them ideally in a meeting. The organized labor will convene a meeting, and the concerns of everybody be collated and input to be made into the statement that will be drafted and to be read. Unfortunately, what happened yesterday, my understanding was that there was no organized labor meeting. For that reason, concerns were not put together. So what was presented yesterday was clearly the position of the TUC. The general concerns of other members of labor who are not affiliate members of TUC, the general concerns are they are not happy with how the things were conducted yesterday, especially when you have Secretary General as the spokesperson of TUC. Now, Secretary General of TUC, then also the coming in of the chairman of TUC. Usually, when they meet at organized labor level, you have Isaac Bampuado, who is the chairman of organized labor. Unfortunately, yesterday, the chairman of TUC doubled as the chairman of organized labor. These are the issues that they have been raising, and they are not too happy about it. But when you listen to what Mr. Abraham Kumson said, the need for an organized labor meeting, I doubt whether that meeting can happen, because what I'm gathering within the space of the TUC is that they are not ready to have any meeting on organized labor meeting, because they believe that if Ghana Federation of Labor had issues, they could have earlier called them rather than going to the media to table their concerns.
Outside of the Ghana Federation of Labor, what about the Forum? Are they pleased as well with the outcome of yesterday's speech?
Right. So they realize that when you look at the mood of Mr. Dr. Bampuado, he was not too happy with how things were conducted. But unfortunately, he has not issued a statement. I do recall that he spoke to some of them backdoor, that the way they have organized this year's May Day was in a bad case. They believe that it's a collective decision of everybody to be passed in the organization of May Day. When you look at the affiliate unions of TUC, they are close to about 20. And those who are part of Forum are mostly within the public sector. Then the Ghana Federation of Labor have a lot of that, a chunk of their members within the space of the textiles industry and other sectors, especially based in Tema. So when you put all their issues together, the 2 labor centers are not so happy with how TUC conducted the May Day yesterday. Unless they have another organized labor meeting to go to resolve their problem. Beyond that, that will be very difficult. The last time, for the reason I like to see some of these concerns or some of these agitations among the national leaders, the fact that when they had the chance to talk about Galamsey, Unfortunately, they could not fight with the Galamsey. So that really broke their front, and up to now, there are some of them who are still living with the disappointment, the frustration, depression, the pain that the national leaders did not support in the fight against Galamsey. Now, yesterday, Secretary General raised the issue about Galamsey, and other unions are asking themselves of what moral locus will the Secretary General be raising issues about Galamsey, but they had a chance that they could have fight Galamsey, but unfortunately, they lost that fight. So these are the issues within the space. But let the national leaders decide that they are having an organized labor meeting to resolve these problems, or likely to permeate through that you have TC going its solo way, then you have Ghana Federation Labor going its way, then the forum also going their own way.
Right then, Daniel, I appreciate the understanding you've brought to bear on this particular subject matter, and we'll follow through and get details for viewers as and when it does come through.
Now, the Africa Judicial Independence Fund says it is concerned about the lack of robustness in the constitutional framework governing the appointment and removal of judges, including the Chief Justice. According to the fund, in its current form, the framework leaves room for potential manipulation and undue political influence. Therefore, it requires urgent tightening and reforms to better safeguard judicial independence. AGIF also cautioned against the politicization of the judiciary amid calls for the removal of Ghana's Chief Justice. According to the fund, any decision regarding the Chief Justice's tenure must adhere to strictly to the constitutional process outlined in Article 146 of the Ghanaian Constitution. He added, reaching a decision regarding the current Chief Justice without tackling the deeper systemic causes of the current crisis will not resolve the challenges confronting Ghana's judiciary. It will only exacerbate them. It is therefore calling on all stakeholders to pursue reforms through deliberate, lawful and participatory processes that uphold the sanctity and independence of the judiciary. Let's look at more of those recommendations that AGIF is making, including transparent and merit-based judicial appointments, strengthening the independence and integrity of the Judicial Council, ensuring adequate resourcing and administrative autonomy of the judiciary, encouraging open public discourse on judicial accountability without undermining the rule of law. Saeed Salahuddin is fund manager of the Africa Judicial Independence Fund. Saeed, I appreciate you talking to us. Good afternoon. But let's get into those concerns you are raising. What exactly is wrong with the current processes in appointing and firing judges?
Good afternoon to you and your cherished viewers. Before I get to your question, the Africa Judicial Independence Fund is an initiative of Afrobarometer. It is born out of the pressing need to address the numerous and complex challenges facing judicial systems across Africa. As you might be aware, Afrobarometer has been conducting surveys for over 25 years now across the continent, and the Afrobarometer survey results continue to point to lack of trust in the judiciary. And to help strengthen judicial independence and accountability, Afrobarometer set up the Africa Judicial Independence Fund. And now to your question regarding the problems with the judicial systems in Ghana in particular, if you look at we are not really concerned about whether the act of removing the Chief Justice is legal or constitutional. We are not concerned about the constitutionality of the process. We are asking the question whether or not the current constitutional framework as it is promotes constitutionalism regarding the removal of the Chief Justice. If you look at the current process, it begins with a petition to the president. The question is, why should the petition be forwarded to the president? It could have been the case that the Constitution should have named a body responsible for adjudicating on such matters so that the petition could have been forwarded directly to that independent body that will determine whether or not there is a case to answer in the first place. But if you say that the petition, one arm of government, very important arm of government, the judiciary, which is clothed with powers of adjudication in all matters, you are saying that when it comes to the removal of no less a person than the Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana, the petition goes to the president. And it doesn't end there. The president must act in consultation with the Council of State. You look at the process carefully, you realize that the president also has influence in the appointment of the members of the Council of State. So the process right from the beginning is subject to political manipulation. And the constitutional framework should have been such that issues regarding the removal of the Chief Justice should, in the first place, be handled by an independent body. And the president or the executive should play no role when it comes to the appointment, when it comes to the determination of whether or not there is a case to answer.
I see. And so when you say you call for an independent body, what are you looking at?
So we are talking about, look at other jurisdictions. Look at the case of Kenya. There is also a process for removing justices of the Superior Court and from the Chief Justice. The president has no role. When it comes to Kenya, a body is set up. The Constitution has named a body. The composition of the body is known right from the word go. So if you have a petition regarding the removal of the Chief Justice, the petition ought to be forwarded to an independent body, and the Constitution should have spelled out the body, name the composition of the body, and the constitution of the body, rather than saying that the petition should be forwarded to the president, and the president acting in consultation with a Council of State that the president has influence in terms of appointment, not in terms of their decision-making. When it comes to the appointment of many of the members of the Council of State, the president nominees are in there. It means that if the president nominees are in there, those that the president appoints to sit in the Council of State are more likely to take decisions that will favor the president. So right from the word go, there ought to have been a body named, and not that the president now act in consultation with the same Council of State to set up an ad hoc committee. The composition of the committee should be predetermined and not left to the president to determine.
I mean, I hear you talk about the issue of trust, but also whether or not people will have displaced loyalty, not to the states, but to the presidency, who, as you have outlined, appoints members at the national level of the Council of State. But the question some would also ask is, why now? Why is Egypt talking about this now?
Egypt is not talking about this now. Maybe Egypt is coming to the limelight now. Egypt is working across Africa. We are working in DRC, Angola, Kenya, Senegal, Zimbabwe, and then Uganda, just to mention a few. We've conducted a landscape scan that talks about the state of judicial independence in Africa. And even if you look at our statement, we made reference to a public lecture that was organized in 2023. And the issue just goes beyond the removal of the current Chief Justice, but the lack of trust in the dwindling lack of trust in the judiciary, and the fact that we are not only talking about the appointment, but even about the removal, even the appointment process of justices of the superior and lower courts. The president, the executive should have no role to play. When it comes to promotion of judges, why should the president be the one to nominate people for promotion? What if the president does not like a particular judge? What happens to that judge? It means that he will not catch the eye of the president. And if we leave the framework as it is now, it will continue to be influenced by the executive, and then the confidence in the judiciary will continue to dwindle. And when the judiciary lacks confidence, I and you will not have faith to refer our matters to the judiciary for adjudication.
I see. So, I mean, thankfully, there's a CRC process ongoing at the moment. Has Egypt made any engagements yet with the committee?
Yes, thankfully, the chairperson for the committee that is looking into the constitutional review process. He's also a member of the advisory board of the Africa Judicial Independence Fund, Prof. H. Kwesi Prempeh. We work hand in hand with him, and we are ensuring that most of the issues that we have raised and others have raised will be featured in any recommendation the committee will be making to the presidency.
Very well. We'll leave it here. Thank you so much for talking to us. Saeed Salahuddin is fund manager for AGIF.
Now, former NPP presidential aspirant Dr. Arthur Kobna Kennedy says that Dr. Bawumia's comments during the ongoing thank you tour by the party is unfortunate. The NPP 2024 flag bearer has blamed the party's defeat on a failure on the part of the previous administration to listen to the concerns of the ordinary Ghanaian. Already, we know some leading members, including Boakye Jacko, have described the tour as one that is rancorous and that could leave the party worse off. And after Kennedy Japan decided to opt out, with party chair Stephen Ntim also stepping away temporarily, Dr. Arthur Kennedy argues the former vice president's comment on the tour are targeted attacks on the former president Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo.
In one person, so even though he artfully uses the royal we, etc., etc., the reality is that if you understand language, when the vice president says reshuffle for 8 years, he means the president, if you understand language. And this is fueled by the knowledge in the party that the former president has made a decision and communicated the same to some members, that he intends to support another candidate. I mean, all those are issues that we can debate later about the appropriateness of supporting Bawumia and the tensions that occurred during the last primary and all that. But having said all that, I think Dr. Bawumia cannot eat his cake and have it. You cannot be touted by the likes of Osafo Maafo as the most influential and consequential vice president in our history. You were the economic guru who were going to rebuild our economy and take all the plaudits, and then when we finally lose an election, turn around and pretend you never had any influence.
Well, Dr. Arthur Kennedy wants the tour called off, insisting other considerations ought to have been made before embarking on the exercise.
I actually think that the thank you tour was a little ill-conceived from the beginning. I acknowledge up front that this is not the first time a thank you tour is happening. It's happened a lot in the past, done by Kufuor, done by Dubois, done by Nana Akufo-Addo, and Dr. Bawumia is seeking to do the same. I think, though, that this one, for some reason, has been characterized by undue rancor, and it's been, as some of you have reported already, been characterized by exchange of fisticuffs and finally a stabbing. It doesn't seem as if it is doing our reputation any good. And I'm not saying here that it is necessarily the fault of Dr. Bawumia, but sometimes one cannot control circumstances, and it might be a good idea to pause from it. You just reported, and I didn't know that the national chairman has taken a break. Maybe the national chairman shouldn't take a break, the tour should take a break. And I also think that while we seemed a little obsessively focused on the national tour and what we are doing with the party, the nation has real emergencies that are going ignored. In addition to everything else, while hopefully we can put ourselves together to prepare for the next chance as government, we are also a responsible opposition party.
We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. Don't go away. Welcome back. It's still News Central here on TV3. Let's talk World Press Freedom Day. The Ghana Journalists Association will honor 24 distinguished individuals and institutions for championing press freedom and the cause of the association over the years as it marks 2025 World Press Freedom Day. Ghana commemorates the day on Friday, May 2nd, under the theme Celebrating Champions of Press Freedom and Ghana's Media Growth, Building a Resilient Media in the AI Era. Giants of the media landscape who have made significant contributions in upholding press freedom in the country will be honored. The annual daytime flag-raising ceremony will be held at the forecourt of the Ghana International Press Center, and the evening ceremony will be at the Alisa Hotel here in Accra. Coming up now is Regional Hub.
Let's get straight into it. And the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Cocoa Board, Dr. Ransford Abbey, is assured cocoa farmers of a favorable producer price for the 2025-2026 crop season. He stated that the new price, which will be announced in August, will surpass that of neighboring Cote d'Ivoire, boosting farmers' income. My colleague Claude Kumie-Bisa has filed this report.
And Cote d'Ivoire are the world's largest cocoa producers, accounting for the majority of global cocoa production. In 2020, Cote d'Ivoire produced 44.4% of the world's cocoa, while Ghana produced 16.3%. Together, they accounted for approximately 60% of global cocoa supply. Ghana's production peaked at 1.047 million metric tons in 2020-2021 season, but has since been affected by various factors. In an effort to boosting the sector and strengthen farmers' confidence ahead of the new cocoa season, the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Cocoa Board, Dr. Ransford Abbey, has begun touring cocoa-growing communities. Dr. Ransford Abbey's tour began with the first stop at the Doma Abemprediasi Palace, where he paid a courtesy call on the Queen Mother, Ordenoho Dr. Akosua Fremajabin II. He asserted that his tour in the region seeks to strengthen partnerships between farmers and traditional leaders.
In Krana headquarters, no, but the Jumanan Casano, and then Krana.
The headquarters is in Accra, but the job itself is here. So we find it necessary to get closer to the farmers and also you as the custodians of the lands for your prayers and advice. The Queen Mother urged the Cocoa Board CEO to prioritize policies that will boost the cocoa industry and ensure sustainable benefits for farmers. We know how valuable cocoa is. I urge you to do something concerning the price to ensure long-term benefits and improve the welfare of farmers. In his engagement with cocoa farmers, the CEO emphasized Cocoa Board's commitment to ensuring that farmers receive competitive prices for their produce. He revealed that the new pricing to be announced in August 2025 will be higher than that of Cote d'Ivoire.
Cocoa season, 25-26. August.
We will open this year's season in August, and as we open, it will come with new price and it will be higher than that of Abidjan. Some farmers called for urgent reforms to make cocoa farming more attractive.
The little that you can do is enforcing the trees we are planting, because we need to plant trees more. So we have to take care of those operators who have been cutting the trees, and it's affecting us. And then the insecticides they are bringing, it should be time bound, because at times when it will come, the thing has already spoiled. Most of our roads are not motorable. Have to get to the place and come back. It's a problem.
In fact, women, we need sponsorship. This time, the youth don't want to go to farm at all. Only the elderly women are, have involved themselves in the cocoa farming. So I'm saying that the government should support us with inputs and the money. At least when we can get some
petty loans to support what we are doing.
For now, stakeholders remain optimistic as Cocoa Board engages with farmers to shape a brighter future for the cocoa industry. Claude Komi Ebisa, TV3 News, Team Ponso, Afro Region.
Well, the Cocoa Board CEO has also been to the Ashanti region, which is where we are going. In that region, Dr. Randy Abbey revealed that the government is working on a legislation to criminalize the cutting down of cocoa trees in the country. The move, according to Dr. Abbey, is aimed at safeguarding Ghana's agricultural sector and protecting the livelihoods of thousands of cocoa farmers who face growing threats from illegal mining and deforestation. The Cocoa Board CEO has been engaging cocoa farmers in the Ashanti region on government's plans to enhance the sector and make it more profitable. For more on this, we're joined by Ibrahim Abubakar, our Ashanti region correspondent. Ibrahim, good afternoon. Tell us a bit more about his visit to the region.
Well, basically, like you said, it's about enhancing cocoa production, because we do know that Ghana's cocoa production has declined significantly. That's from 2001, where we recorded about 1 million metric tons. And in 2014, we are hovering around 550,000 metric tons. And this has been attributed to major factors, including illegal mining, which is galamsey. Sadly, you go to many parts of Ashanti region, you realize that cocoa farmers are giving out their cocoa farms for sale to these illegal miners. Others too are just looking on concern whilst these miners forcefully take over these cocoa farms and be conducting their mining operation. These, among other factors, are the reason why the Cocoa Board is trying to come about with this legislation, so that one, Ghana will be able to strengthen its commitment when it comes to being one of the leading cocoa producing countries across the globe. And for that matter, Dr. Ransford Abbey is saying that government is currently engaging, and they are sitting with the Attorney General to make sure that they come out with these proposed laws, so that they proceed to Parliament to make sure that it's being made into law, because they want to protect Ghana's cocoa. They want to protect the livelihood of the many cocoa farmers that we have in this country. Let's listen to what the CEO of Cocoa Board, Dr. Randy Abbey, has been saying.
And we will listen to it in subsequent broadcasts, but what's been the response from these farmers?
Well, mixed reaction. Some are saying their colleagues are pushed to selling their cocoa farms because the cocoa is not yielding the needed results that they are expecting. Some say they are pushing in more resources, but they are getting little out of it. And for that matter, they are left with no option than to sell it. Others too are in support of this legislation, because they believe that cocoa is one of the three key commodities that is raking in a lot of foreign revenue to the country. We are talking about gold, we are talking about oil, we are talking about cocoa. But you look at these three, cocoa is the component that we are getting around 80%, retaining 80% in the country. And for that matter, government should do everything possible to protect our cocoa sector and make sure that it also supports the farmers to be able to enhance production.
I see Ibrahim, we'll leave it here. Thank you so much for talking to us. Ibrahim Abubakar is our Ashanti region correspondent, giving us the latest on the Cocoa Board CEO's visit to the region, to some cocoa farmers there. Some legislation and price increase could be in the offing for them.
Now, the district chief executive for Zabzugu in the northern region, George Tani Lakoba, has expressed utmost disgust over the poor state of the assembly and other facilities he inherited from his predecessor. According to him, most items captured in the handed over notes by his predecessor were nowhere to be found. He has blamed his predecessor and the assembly staff for lack of proper oversight. He emphatically stated that he will ensure that assembly staff are accountable for their actions. Christopher Mwaku has been joining him, and pictures of some of the things on your screens right now. Let's go over to Christopher right now and get a sense of really what the challenges are in Zabzugu. Christopher, talk to us. You've seen it for yourself. Describe to us what really the problems are at the district assembly.
Yes, so when I talk about the infrastructure of the assembly itself and the residents of the district chief executive, it is very, very appalling. It is nothing to write home about, because looking at the structure, it is in a dilapidated state, and the DC has vehemently indicated that the nature in which the assembly building and his residence were left by his predecessor isn't the best. According to him, the culture of maintenance should be adopted by every leader in an establishment, such that when you go, someone who comes to take over will also know that you actually took very good care of it. Now, if you go to the DC's residence right now, the DC is unable to move into his official residence because of the state of the residence. It's in a very, very bad state. Now, the assembly structure itself is in a very bad state, and so according to the district chief executive, it will take him time to be able to fix these things. He doesn't even have a chair to sit on in his office because the chair is broken. If you go there, the assembly, according to him, doesn't even have money in his coffers to be able to renovate or buy some of these things, and so it's a very worrying situation for him. Now, the items captured in the handing over notes of the former district chief executive, most of them are nowhere to be found. You talk about ACs, you talk about beds, you talk about other things at the DC's residence, and so he's been expressing concerns over these things. Let's take a listen to what he's been saying.
Because with regard to the handing over, let me say I've inherited the negative balance of the assembly. There is no funds in the assembly coffer. For the residents, I would say the security were not in proper. If the security were actually in place or proper, I don't think things that got missing over there wouldn't be like that. And in the office place too, it's not like the things are not there, but it's not functioning. So maybe that one I would say is maybe maintenance culture. Currently, they bring things to the agri sector. They have to look for someone resident that they will rent to offload those things in somebody's house, which is not the best. So as I inherited maybe the account, and then some other items are removed in the offices, I have to find out in a certain place or in my private residence while coming to the office, so which is also causing the assembly with the fuel in and out going to, and then I need to be in an official residence as now. And then with the action plan I mentioned, I need to, so I have that within the 100 days or this number of weeks, I should do ABC.
And Chris, what explanations has the assembly staff been given regarding some of these missing items?
Yes, so they indicated that they admit that some of the items that were captured on the handing over notes when they went to check with the district chief executive were not in their full content, and so they will find out from the security people stationed at these at the DC's residence to find out how those things went missing. Now, at the office too, when asked why they could not maintain some of the office properties like chairs and others, they said that they didn't have enough funds to be able to do that. So they are saying that as the new district chief executive has come, they are hoping that some monies will be made available for them to do a total renovation of the assembly structure and the DC's residence.
Yes, I appreciate those details. That's Christopher Marco, is my colleague in the northern region for us, providing details, and quite horrible, really. the maintenance culture that we continue to have as a people. But a lot more stories right now from the regions.
Vibrant hustle and bustle that typically defines the major commercial hubs in the Techiman is increasingly being overshadowed by a growing crisis, pervasive unsanitary conditions compounded by a severe lack of access to water and proper toilet facilities. Here's a report by Belinda Tete.
Nabna Market and Techiman Main Station are two major commercial hubs in Techiman Enclave. A walk through these bustling areas reveals a rather disturbing reality. Recklessly disposed refuse ranging from decaying foodstuff to discarded plastics festers in open spaces and along narrow pathways. According to traders, this is due to infrequent and inefficient refuse collection, which leaves them with no choice but to dispose their waste indiscriminately.
Yeah, because of a feeling to Santonton Ewaha, or more has no Mokaya affected because me are meeting Bajuma. So what I say, this is a metronomic somewhere.
The here man say was a buying no 18 million dustbins because Obinu Munsuo Nas or Tunanina said dustbins were want me and fan perform.
This dire situation is worsened by the critical lack of access to clean water and functioning toilet facilities. Traders decry the deplorable state of hygiene.
Washrooms so I one. At times it's me and my normal locking. It's me the 2 to 3 weeks. No mun be a washroom. I'm saying mama and so have by be also. Tell us you find it difficult.
The pipe was high, we are giving you so the hour. At the time, you are quite I just say for friends who have a Oroha. If you do Honabiana, it's surely a yebi. It's a basa, a bread.
The assemblyman for the area, Andres Nyako, also cautioned store owners against the improper disposal of waste. He noted that the task force has been assigned to deal with individuals who intentionally disposed of refuse irresponsibly.
Ana obi asabi oye basabasa so oji wura no a instead of so de beko site ono ana so de beko bebe bucket no on fa nkoye wura o ha no obi ano no waje asi baby yate sa task force a say omunamu a omo hwe sa nkofo no mai so the warning is go to that store people so ana store owners no say omumom and na yekosi omu for that.
The absence of these basic amenities not only affects the health and well-being of traders, but also casts a shadow over the market's economic viability. In response to their growing concern, the mayor for Techiman Metropolis, Ajay Mensah, assured traders that responsible agencies will be tasked to provide the necessary solutions to address their demands.
What I've seen is that the place is dirty, because the Zumi Lion workers have stopped working for the assembly. So the place is really very bad in terms of sanitation. So from here we are going to contact the Zumi Lion executive in the municipality to find.
Let's return to the capital, where the Kro and Ayawaso East Municipal Assemblies have confirmed their respective municipal chief executive nominees in separate peaceful voting exercises. In Kro, Engineer Paul Afotekwe was unanimously endorsed as a new MC following a confirmation vote, and all 17 eligible assembly members, including 6 government appointees and 11 elected members, voted in favor of the nominee. One assembly member is reported deceased, bringing the total number to 18. Engineer Afotekwe expressed his gratitude for the overwhelming endorsement and pledged to tackle key developmental challenges in the municipality.
The challenges that face our people, there are quite a number of them. The state of our roads is one. one of the key issues is youth unemployment. As far as the vision that I'll bring to bear is concerned, it's basically in line with His Excellency the President. And it's a vision to reset Ghana through provision of jobs, creating prosperity for the people. So generally, that's what we're going to do.
The Ayawaso East Municipal Assembly, they've also confirmed the MC nominee in a similar smooth process. Out of the 17 Assembly members who participated in the vote, 16 endorsed the nominee, while just one voted against him. The newly confirmed MC, Abdul Ghani Ibrahim, pledged to ensure peace and stability in the municipality, which he said are essential foundations for development.
The issue of sanitation is a challenge for us, yes. So we are going to collaborate with our sanitation officers at the assembly. And also we have some NGOs in the community who are helping us doing the sanitation. So my Monday we call everyone at the emergency meeting so that we can have it on the board, tackle the sanitation issue.
Abdul Ghani Ibrahim, the freshly confirmed MC for Ayawaso East, bringing us to the end of Regional Hub.
Well, and just before we go, the Ghana Shea Employers Association has made a plea to government to impose a ban on the exportation of shea nuts. According to the association, the exportation of the nuts is having a detrimental impact on local businesses, threatening their survival. Here's a report by Ibrahim Wangara from WA.
The association has decried the increasing presence of foreign buyers coming into the localities to purchase raw shea nuts in bulk for export. They argue that the exportation deprives local industries of the raw materials they need to operate, thereby stifling their growth and development. According to the Organic Trade and Investment Report, Ghana produces up to 60,000 metric tons of shea nuts annually from approximately 94 million shea trees. This, according to the Ghana Shea Employers Association, Rita Damson, believe placing a ban will help the government promote the local processing and value addition of shea products while creating jobs and generating wealth for the country.
As I stand here representing the Ghana Shea Employers Association, we are appealing to the government to put some policy to ban the exportation of our nuts. This thing is killing our local businesses gradually.
A bowl of nut, which was sold at 12 cedis in 2013, rose to 14 cedis early 2024. The same bowl of the commodity is now sold at 60 Ghana cedis, which they say is driven largely by middlemen and the unregulated markets.
Yes, the exportation is increasing the prices of our nuts every week for us. Last year we had so many orders, but we have to return it because we didn't have the nuts in the system. They have taken all.
Speaking on the sidelines of Productivity Ecosystem for Decent Work, a global multi-country program where 16 share enterprises were honored, National Project Officer Emmanuel Willindall calls for a decent work environment for share workers.
When the workplace is decent, when the workplace is nice, it makes the workers also happy. They are willing to give up their best. And then the two, go together to ensure that there is that improvement in the lives of the workers, as well as ensuring that the enterprises remain profitable and then sustainable.
And that's it from us this week. I am Owen Agbeta.
And I am Kemini Aman. I'll see you later today on Ghana Tonight. But do tune in at 7 p.m. for News 360. There's more news on 3news.com. Bye-bye from us.